What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is May 9th of 2018. Well, folks, it's time for a daily update here on the DataDash channel, and right now at this moment, I'm currently in Cebu in the Philippines. It's a beautiful, beautiful day, guys. I'm hoping to get some footage and show you guys around at the conference that I'm attending over the next day or so. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of important things to discuss here on the daily update. The first thing I want to talk about, as always, is do a little bit of fundamental analysis on markets and valuations, as well as doing some technical analysis on the market leaders. But outside of this as well, guys, we really have some key things to discuss. The first thing we got to spend some time talking about is a lot of the fuss and a lot of the misinformation that's going around in regards to the supposed SEC hearing on Ethereum. There's been a lot of FUD driven in markets because of this, due to a lot of misconceptions perpetrated by the mainstream media. And along with that as well, we want to spend some time to talk about some new support for financial derivatives or financial products coming out for Bitcoin in the traditional banking sector. So there's a lot to discuss here, guys. Let's not push it off any longer and dive right into the update. So first and foremost, as we take a look across the board here on the market, guys, we can see that only a few players are in the green because of Bitcoin and Ethereum continuing to correct. We can see that most players are in the red in the market right now as we scroll across the top 100 players, with again a few players in the green. Nothing too much though to admire. Markets have generally been going down over the past few days. As we've been going down from May 6th, we've gotten about a $50 billion reduction in market valuation. Nothing to completely blow off as a massive correction in markets, but definitely a nice pullback from all the run-up that we've had over the past few weeks. And with this, I think it provides an opportunity to start finding some levels of support, finding some levels where you can pick up on some altcoins that you really like, or if you have some fiat on side, possibly to make those additions to Bitcoin or Ethereum that you've been meaning to make. Again, though, guys, you got to decide it for yourself. It's not financial advice, but I know I've got some cash on side that I'm looking to add at some key support levels, and I'll be happy to show you guys where I'm looking at those current levels at the moment. So again, as we take a look across the board, taking a more wide view here, I want to take it here to the 3-month. Again, we can see that we have taken a little bit of a dip here, but nothing in the grand scheme of things, guys. Nothing to fear, and definitely an opportunity where I know I'm going to be making some additions. So as we take it here to the yearly on market dominance, guys, it's obviously clear that we're starting to see Bitcoin dominance not only flatten out, but possibly curve up. This is mostly due to the fact that we've seen a correction in markets and prices. When Bitcoin tends to go up, altcoins tend to go up at a higher rate, and because of that, market dominance for Bitcoin depletes, whereas when we have corrections, Bitcoin tends to gain in market dominance. This is going to be the general trend as we continue on the altcoin cycle, or if we pull back from that altcoin cycle. But in this case, I don't think that the altcoin cycle is over, guys. We've barely gotten over the previous levels we saw back here in December, and with Bitcoin prices being extremely low, altcoin valuations are nowhere near where they were back in December. Some have gone into higher levels, such as EOS and a few other select players, but for the most part, a lot of protocols are still relatively cheap, and I think we're just seeing the beginning part of the cycle. So because of this, I think this is a temporary pullback. What's nice, though, is that I think Bitcoin dominance is going to continue to deplete, and that we're going to continue to see the optimism of the protocols or the enterprise platforms that are coming out into the market, as we see a lot of new exchange listings coming out for these platforms and protocols, and a lot of them exiting out of their ICO phase. But the real key reason why I'm really optimistic is because of the fact that Bitcoin is holding at the exact support level we were hoping it would hold at, which is $9,000. Again, guys, as we take it here to the daily, we have seen over the past few weeks that this level continues to be a key level of support for Bitcoin. Now, I don't know if, for example, we might have one more down day going slightly below 9,000, as we've seen over here. We sometimes test a little bit below the level. But nonetheless, we can obviously see what was previous resistance is now acting as new support for Bitcoin. And it's looking very, very healthy. A nice, steady correction here. Nothing too strong in regards to volume, meaning that not too many big players or whales or institutions are selling at this moment, meaning that there's nice price strength confirmation in this sense. We're holding at a key support level. There hasn't been any serious sell side volume, meaning that this might be an opportunity to possibly start seeing some more upside back in price. But again, we have to stay neutral here, guys. But across the board, though, I not only see this happening with Bitcoin, again, continuing back up to retest towards that barrier at the 200-day moving average and a little bit above $10,000, but along with that as well, as we take a look here at Ethereum, I'm going to start off, I know I usually don't do this, I'm going to start off by looking at the USD valuation. With Ethereum, we're getting very close to coming back down and finding support on the 200-day moving average. I think as the 200-day continues to climb up, and that we may possibly have one more sell-off day due to, again, not maybe generally a little bit tied to the FUD that we're having in the market in regards to a lot of the misleading information with these supposed SEC securities hearing on Ethereum. But I think generally speaking that Ethereum's just going to go through a healthy correction. We saw a lot of volume come in on the 7th of May, and because of that, it wouldn't surprise me that we continue to see a correction, especially going from $367 all the way up to $840 over the past few weeks. Seems pretty rational in my mind, but again, we might not get it entirely exactly in regards to contact on the 200-day moving average. I think it would be pretty rational though at this point. So going on here, excuse me guys, going on here to take a look at the Bitcoin comparative as well. I think this would be very healthy for Ethereum, and I think if we were to get that, again, I'd have to do my math properly, but I think we could easily get down to the support level around 7,500,000 Satoshis, generally around where we held support over here in the past, making, again, previous support, new support over here as well. All right, so let's go ahead here and take a look at a few more market leaders as well as some players that we're keeping an eye on. Ripple continuing down on the downtrend that we want to see on Ripple here. We want to see Ripple make contact with that 50-day moving average. If it continues to break through, I think the next key level to watch for is something relatively close, which is the 200-day moving average. Again, I think it's going to gain support at the 50-day, and if we get a nice rebound off that, I definitely will be making a short-term swing trade on it, me personally, and I think that I'm going to generally be looking for my first level to possibly be around 95,000 Satoshis, and then my second level to be a retest up here around 110,000. I think that'd be a nice short-term trading range for Ripple if we can garner some momentum and support on those key levels for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Going forward here, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash finally getting a little bit of a correction following the trend of the rest of the market. I think this has got a ways to go down, guys. This has been going up way too fast without any serious fundamental news. Not railing on Bitcoin Cash. You guys know I'm pretty neutral on the currency itself. But again, I think this needs to go through a little bit of a correction with all the exponential price action. I don't buy high, I buy low, guys, and I sell at a much higher price. That's at least the objective of the game. Let's go ahead here, take a look at EOS. We can see EOS has started to actually confirm that it's garnered a decent amount of support around 170,000 Satoshis. And in this case, I think we're going to have a double top, possibly testing back up towards 24,000 Satoshis. I don't think this is going to be good, obviously, because double tops tend to be a bearish signal. We usually get the price coming back up and retesting towards the high with rejection. I don't think we're going to see much higher levels on EOS, at least for the short term. That's just me personally, not doubting on EOS. But again, guys, we have had some pretty exponential price action. And as we've seen in the past, when we have this kind of price, we've seen it actually in EOS. This is the reason why I think we're going to see it, is that we might test to slightly higher levels, but we're going to come back up to this price range, and it's not going to have enough volume to sustain the momentum that we've seen over the past few weeks, and with it, a correction will follow. I don't know if it'll be like December, but I think we need to see some form of correction before we move forward. Going on here, taking a look at a few more players. ADA BTC, Cardano having a nice correction here. I would love for this to come down not only to the 50-day moving average as it continues to rise, but to find support at 3,000 Satoshis. Not only a big even level on the SAT measurement here comparative to Bitcoin, but along with that as well with the 50-day moving average, this could synchronize very, very nicely for a continued run-up and a possible area where I would consider adding here. So going on here, taking a look at Litecoin. Want to really take a look here not only at the Bitcoin and USD comparative as well. Litecoin slightly holding on that 50-day moving average, really kind of tethering along, breaking down below it, but I think at this moment we can still say that it's holding. And as we take a look here at the USD valuation, there is a very important thing to note, and that is the fact that Litecoin is finally starting to break out. It looks like it's taking its first opportunity outside of these little spots on the wicks of a few candles back in the past of early 2018. And we're finally breaking out of this descending triangle over a long period of time. So because of that, I think we could possibly see Litecoin hold and possibly get a rebound to higher levels. This would be the case for Litecoin to move towards those those previous resistance levels that it usually encounters comparative to Bitcoin. And I'll go ahead and point that out just real quick so you guys know what I'm talking about, right up here around the 2 million Satoshi range. So we might see that. I think it needs to hold not only on both the USD chart at this current moment, but also here on its Satoshi comparative. But the sell walls are looking pretty big for Litecoin, so we'll have to see if it can get enough buyers to match all the sellers on the order book. Going ahead here, taking a look at a few more players. Let's go ahead and take a look at Icon. Icon doing very nicely, looking like the cup and handle has gone through here. We've had a cup in the price, the handle, and this might continue to lead towards a breakout. We need the volume, though, for this to really go into effect, and we're not seeing it right now in Icon. So because of that, I'm not making any serious additions, but still got my long-term position on Icon. Go ahead here, take a look at our last player here, Neo. Neo right now coming down exactly where I want to see it, down on that 50-day moving average across around 800,000 Satoshis. This is looking very, very nice in regards to support. If we continue to hold on this flattening 50-day moving average, we could possibly see this base out and curve and back up towards higher levels. Again, would be very, very healthy. But again, we might be seeing a repeat, guys. One thing we have to keep in mind in regards to the bearish case, I would say more likely than not, we could possibly see higher levels. But I want to keep in mind as well that as we take a look here at Neo, we've had this in the past where Neo moves down, has a nice solid rebound with a little bit of volume coming back in, and then also a rejection, a comeback down to that support level, and then a breakdown to further prices. We could see that with Neo this time, but again, I think that the altcoin cycle is still too far into effect right now to where Neo's going to continue moving higher. Again, just keep open-minded to it. So if you guys do trades on it, make sure that you keep a stop on it to wherever you feel comfortable, but that's at least what I would be doing in this case scenario. So, all right, let's go ahead and go past the technical analysis and dive into the big headline that everyone has been really kind of shooken up over. This has been the topic that's been drilling a lot of fun into the market, and I really want to spend some time to specify what's going on here. So this whole topic of the SEC hearing on Ethereum being a security, I'll be fair, we've talked about it here on the Data Dash channel on a few daily updates over the past few days because it's been a concerning topic for me. It's something that when I heard the news break out that this was supposedly happening, I was very concerned for it. And I tried to do a pretty decent amount of research on it. The thing that was kind of peculiar, though, as much as I was confident in the statement that this was going to be happening, was that there wasn't much information. Really, once we take a look at it now, and people have started to break it down and really do the research, we've started to find that this is pretty much originated from an article from the Wall Street Journal, coming from practically what could be seen as anonymous sources in this sense. Again, this is a very big issue in the media nowadays. And as you go through the article here, there's a really good coverage here from Crypto Disrupt. We pretty much saw all of the major media publications come in and simply off of this one article use it as a source to continue talking about the topic. I can't think of the actual label for this, guys. Again, I'm very bad with names and labels generally, but this is a big common issue that happens in the mainstream media especially, and even in alternative media, for example, this channel, where basically one news source that's a respected in some regards. For example, in this case, the Wall Street Journal comes out with a piece on some kind of news topic, and obviously they have cited sources, whether they be official recorded sources or anonymous, and we take it for granted in the sense that we just believe that this is a truthful article because this, again, this article or the article where this it's the news site where this article came from is tended to be a respected source, and that's why again you have that kind of domino effect where CNBC, Cointelegraph, all of these big website publications come out and continue to report the same story that might not be entirely true. Well, anyways, there was supposedly according to this article, a short meeting between individuals from the SEC and the CFTC. There was a private meeting that was going on in regards to this. Now, some people might argue that, well, it's a private meeting, we don't know the details on it, and we're not going to hear the announcement of the results on it because it's a private meeting. Well, the thing about it, guys, is that the SEC, according to my knowledge and what I've been able to discover in my research, is that they have to announce when they're going to have meetings on things. It's government publications, meaning they have to come out and be completely transparent on when they're having meetings on these things. And from the research that we've been able to do as a community out here in the crypto space, we haven't been able to find any serious records of official meetings of people from the SEC talking about Ethereum, specifically being a security or a non-security. So because of that, I think most of this can be kind of dispelled at the moment, guys. Again, this debate has been going on for quite some time. And if we take a look here at this article from Bloomberg, it's very, very important to really take in what the Ethereum team is really thinking about this. So when they've been having the Community Ethereum Developer Conference just a few days ago, back on the 7th, there was pretty much a vibe where people didn't really care about this news. Developers had no sense of worry, and from the consensus of the legal team, it was pretty clear that over the past few years, ever since the ICO happened for Ethereum, that Ethereum wasn't meeting the needs of a security. It didn't pass the Howey test. So because of that, in this case, I think there's really not much need to be worried about this at this point, guys. If more details emerge, if there starts to become more information in regards to the SEC announcing an official meeting in regards to Ethereum being a security, I will definitely let you guys know, and I'll make sure to back up and check out the sources on that. But I want to make sure that, again, as always, that I keep you guys up to date, dispel the FUD, and keep as much transparency as possible on the issue. So for now, I think we can take a deep breath. For those of you who are Ethereum holders, much like myself, I have a little bit of Ethereum as well with all my other cryptocurrencies. We can all take a breath and look towards hopefully a brighter future where the SEC, rather than taking a negative critical tone and calling Ethereum a security, goes towards more of a positive tone and embraces innovation and investment into this space. So going on here, I want to spend some time to talk about a broader topic, and this is again going towards what I talk a lot about in regards to traditional finance adopting cryptocurrencies. There has been not only the adoption of Bitcoin futures and also the opening again of the SEC towards ETF approvals for Bitcoin, but there's also been a step towards more financial adoption, or more kind of speeding up the process of financial transactions in relation to Bitcoin through different financial derivative projects. Now, we've already seen the futures contracts, but there's also been talks that at the New York Stock Exchange, as well as a few other exchanges, they're going to be hopefully working towards getting what's known as Bitcoin swaps. Basically, to keep this in simple terms, guys, this is another form of derivatives that would be able to provide traders and investors the opportunity to get a stake in Bitcoin to some degree. Basically, where you would go ahead and purchase the swap, and the next day you would have ownership of some degree in regards to Bitcoin. Again, it's very complicated when you get into explaining different types of financial derivatives. And with swaps, they can be customizable to a very large degree compared to futures contracts, which are usually set in stone. You get the right to purchase some type of financial product at a certain price within a certain time period as well. So in this case, it's definitely good to see these kind of steps taking fold in regards to Bitcoin. And I think it comes at a time when a lot of people, I think many people like to use this in their thumbnails and in the headlines, that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have been coming out in criticism of Bitcoin over the past few days. I know, for example, Warren Buffett called Bitcoin rat poison squared or something, pretty much saying that it's just absolutely terrible. And you've also got Bill Gates as well, who's been in the past talking about it being tied to criminal activity and all kinds of crazy out there stuff that, again, is the same kind of stereotypical stuff we've heard from traditional finance. Now, not only is Warren Buffett not really the best tech investor, and I think that Bill Gates, much like Warren Buffett, having billions of dollars in other assets that might be affected if cryptocurrencies get some of the valuation drained from out of those assets, I think they have a financial stake to stand against this to some degree, especially because it counteracts, or I guess is counterintuitive to the system that they're traditionally making their money in. But along with this as well, we can see across the board, guys, that the actual financial institutions are getting behind this. So, for example, as we were talking about the swaps, again, I'm going to leave some of these links down below if you guys want to really dissect into these articles. But we have, for example, the Intercontinental Exchange, which is tied to the New York Stock Exchange, and 23 other regulated exchanges. They do a lot of processing transactions for different types of financial products, is looking towards bringing about Bitcoin swaps. And this would be yet another good step towards financial adoption for cryptocurrency trading in the traditional financial sector. Again, this is the big point I want to bring out, guys. Not only are we seeing a killing going on the OTC market right now, but we're seeing not only Bitcoin futures see some of their highest trading volume ever. Along with that as well, we're seeing the development of swaps, and hopefully by the end of the year, I have a bet that we are going to see talks, at least talks, of a Bitcoin ETF, and that is going to change the entire game, because when the Bitcoin ETF comes out, you're going to have top 5 crypto ETFs, you're going to have Ethereum ERC20 token ETFs, you're going to have protocol ETFs. it's going to open up the floodgate for massive institutional money, which is currently caught up in overvalued markets, to flow into a new hedge, which is going to be the cryptocurrency market. It is going to be extremely exciting if that happens this year. And as we go down to the bottom here, I really want to end off on this quote here. I like this quote right here. It says, "The industry is seeing unprecedented institutional interest for the first time in Bitcoin's history. I've been amazed that the strongest believers in cryptocurrency often start out as the most skeptical. It's a healthy skepticism, but at some point the perception shifts, and for many institutions, I think we're finally there." Again, guys, I have to drill it in. There is nothing more I can say at this moment than the amount of excitement that's going on under the table in the financial world. Again, I'm no friends with Jamie Dimon by any means. I don't have connections to the massive banks, but I can tell you that I'm getting a stigma of two sides. I'm really getting a stigma where 90% of people, maybe in traditional finance, 90 to 95%, just really don't understand the technology. Many of these people are average people working for Bank of America, a lot of the big companies out there, and they just really underestimate or don't understand blockchain technology or how Bitcoin works. But to the 5% or the 10% that do understand how this technology works and how big of an impact this cryptocurrency revolution is going to have on the traditional world that we know, many of them are scared, and along with that as well are trying to make quick adjustments to making sure that their companies can survive when this new market emerges, to make sure that companies like Coinbase don't end up replacing the large banking institutions or the original trading exchanges. So because of that, I think they're going to make a swift move, and they're going to be making a lot of those moves this year and this year alone. And continuing on, we're going to see more and more as time grows. So anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, as always, guys, I want to let you all know that over the future, coming days and weeks, it depends on how busy I am at the conference here in Cebu in the Philippines. But when I get back home, I'm hoping to keep up with the content that you guys have requested. I got a lot of comments asking for a video on OTC markets, so I'm hoping to not only get a lot of in-depth research and coverage on the topic to give you guys a perspective on what's going on the OTC markets, but along with that as well, hopefully maybe some interviews with people who work in the OTC market, some of the people that I've talked to personally over the past few weeks and months who are working in that space. And along with that as well, I'm going to be doing, the reason I've got a coin market cap list up here is I'm going to be doing a top 3 undervalued projects video. I haven't done one back since in January, and there is a lot of exciting projects that are low market cap cryptocurrencies. Some listed on some not so big exchanges, some listed on more well-known exchanges that I will definitely be sharing with you guys that are really showing some interesting perspective on what they're trying to accomplish over the long term, and some interesting innovations in technology and use of blockchain. So with all that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy some of the weather here. It's a beautiful day. I wish I could show you guys. I'll try to get some footage here, but yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit busy with the conference. I'll keep you guys in the loop though nonetheless, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.